record on this computer. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Satipatthana course. I'm very pleased to and excited to be going on an 8-week journey with you all. This is the first of its kind, this course. So it's kind of the second level or the second iteration of this 10-day course that I've been running for over a year now. And I just felt that it's time for something a little bit more deeper. I feel that the 10-day course is nice and it gives a good introduction. Doing 2 hours a day, you start to taste a little bit more of what meditation can be like if you're doing it more. But I also feel that something is missing in the 10 days, some depth that only comes if you practice over time. And so I feel that 8 weeks is 2 months is a good amount of time for, if you're doing 1 hour a day, this will definitely have some impact, and you will start to get more of a feel for what this practice is about. If the first 10-day course was a bit more of a taster. So yeah, I'm super excited for everyone to be here. Hello, Eliza. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. Hey, everyone.
Maybe just to get a brief feel for who's here. I know there's a few watching the recording, but if you want to just briefly introduce yourself with your name and where you're taking this call from, and just a few words about why you are doing this course. So no lengthy explanations, but maybe just a phrase or two for why you are here today. Maybe you, Eliza, maybe do you want to start?
Hey, everyone. Yeah, I'm Eliza. I'm doing this from Melbourne. And I guess I don't really have the discipline to meditate every day on my own. So I kind of saw this as an opportunity to experience what that's like. And yeah, I'm just doing it more to see what unfolds rather than any certain intention, I suppose. Thank you.
Excellent. Nice to have you, Eliza. Russell, how about yourself?
Hi there. So I'm from England, and I think after the 10-day course, I wanted to understand a little bit more about putting more meditation in life, and I found the 10-day course good, and I like the experience of it. So I just wanted to experience more deeply, and yeah, fit that into my life as an hour a day.
Excellent. Great. Wendy, how about yourself?
I'm from New Zealand. It's nighttime here, but it's summer. Yeah, just enjoyed the 10-day course and want to do just a wee bit more depth, and feel into the energy of and the the present moment. So yeah, excited to do the course.
Excellent. The energy of the present moment. We can feel it now. Sitting.
Yeah. Yep.
Great.
Yep.
How about Wan Ching and Raimar? These are my parents, by the way. Wan Ching and Raimar are my parents. Why are you doing the course, Mom and Dad?
We were calling in from Munich in Germany. I want to do the course to further embed meditation and mindfulness in my life. And, what a pleasure to do it with our son.
Excellent.
Yeah, I've been doing a meditation for 8 years or so, for a long time, and I do it every day, regularly. But with guidance, it's always a little bit better than without. And sometimes over time one slips again, and so it's good to go back to the principles, and then you can always feel a little bit deeper than So it's a step function. So sometimes you're already plateauing for a while, and then you need to make an effort to reach the next plateau.
Or peak.
Great. Or peaks and troughs. All right. Hello, Sarah. How about yourself?
Hello, Sarah or Britta. I'm from Sweden, and I really like the 10-day course as everyone else, and I'm looking forward to deepen my practice, and I feel like doing it with guidance would deepen it more, and also that meditating 1 hour a day, I wouldn't do that without the group and the guidance I feel, and it will be an interesting experience to do that for several weeks.
Yes. Excellent. Great. Hello, Tarla. You are on mute.
Opheffen. Yes? Okay, now?
Yes, good. Good.
I'm Carla from the Netherlands. I've been looking for a form of meditation for a long time. And every time I fell asleep when I did a guided one. And then the Vipassana 10 days was like a jacket. It fitted so nicely. So I don't fall asleep anymore. And I'd like to, well, as everybody else, deepen the practice. And
what does it bring you? What does it bring you that you want to deepen it?
A feeling of stability, and peace going through the day. Yeah.
Excellent. Great to have you, Carla. Then there's also Mar and Baiba B, who, if you feel you can switch on your camera, but if not, also no problem. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Papavi, and I am joining from India. I attended this Vipassana meditation course in October, and actually it made many small changes that contributed to bigger ones. So now I'm just curious about, going deeper and how it can affect my life more. I'm just a curious learner.
What is one of those small changes that you noticed?
Small changes, being an empath, whenever I walk into certain room, I absorb its energy, either it's negative or positive. So now, now I can differentiate myself. I have boundaries, energetical boundaries, that this is me and this is this room's energy. It's not mine. So it contributed to that. The bigger change is that I feel home with myself, and I feel secure with myself.
Great. Excellent to hear. Thank you for sharing. Mar, how about yourself?
Yes, good morning. Yes, I'm Mar. I'm living in Germany. I liked very, very much the way you explained all the concepts, and that's why I'm here today, because I would like to understand better all the philosophy, and also to how all the other people said, with the help of the group, to build a constant practice in my daily life. Yes, that's why I'm here.
Nice. What is one concept that you remember from the 10-day course that stuck with you?
Equanimity. I think my tendency to have an opinion about everything is very, very. It brings me a lot of suffering, and yes, equanimity is a very very big one.
Excellent.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Great. Yeah, it's nice to get a little bit more feel for who we are and why we come to meditate. And you see that although everyone's here to deepen their practice, we're all a bit different. So the reasons why we come to meditation are different, what makes us stay. And we all have our unique mind and body that that we find out about through the process of meditation. And for some, it might be equanimity. For some, it might be more compassion. For some, it might be feeling stuck or something like this. But yeah, and we have all these reasons, but it's also okay to change them. So for me, meditation, it changes every day actually why I do it. Of course, I have my overarching deeper reasons why I meditate, but every day is a little bit different. Today maybe I meditate for joy. I want to be able to connect more to people. And then yesterday it was more about, I woke up cranky and I meditate to release a bit this resistance toward this crankiness. So it's important to know why we meditate, and it's also okay to let this reason change over time. So this is just a nice question to keep asking yourself. So why am I meditating today? Or what am I doing? Great. So we will, get started with the lecture. And the first question I want to ask you is, in 3 words or less, what do you want? So this is a very broad question. And maybe the answer that you just gave is related to this. But what do you want? What do you want in life, in this moment, whatever comes to mind? What do you, 3 words or less?
Should I start? Or?
You just put it in the chat. Put it in the chat is better. Otherwise, it will take too long for everyone. Equanimity, calm and peace. Trusting, present, and accepting. Peace, calm, and compassion. Happiness. And anchor. Amazing. So many different things. We all want many different things. At the root of them all are basically wanting to be happiness and free from suffering. We want more peace. We want more calm. We feel that compassion will make us more happy. We feel equanimity will be beneficial in life. And it might be a bit weird to start a meditation course with what do you want? What is your desire? But really, something that I've realized through meditating is that mindfulness and meditation is really only half the picture. So we need to understand what motivates us in life also, because the meditation gives us the tools, but without the what do you want or what we are working towards, there's kind of like a lack of clarity. It's almost like with meditation, you become more powerful. You gear yourself up. You're a bit like becoming a battleship, but without that battleship having a purpose, it just is stuck in port and is kind of completely useless. So it's also important to have direction, to know what we want, to know what we are working towards every day. And importantly, the reason why we meditate is to understand ourselves better, to understand our body and our mind better, because all of these things that you guys mentioned, the trusting, equanimity, the peace, the happiness, the loving kindness, the joy, etc. Where are all these things occurring? They are occurring as experiences in your mind and in your body. And the better we understand our mind and body, the more able we are to understand what are the causes and conditions which lead to these kind of states of mind. So with the body, it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit more straightforward. And there's a lot more kind of scientific evidence behind what can make our body happy. Okay, we know eating healthy, we know exercising, we know that taking rests, doing yoga, etc. We know that these things make our body better and make our body feel better. And with the mind, it's a little bit more complicated. So the mind seems to be a lot more out of control. You probably all know this feeling. You have amazing conditions, but you wake up and you feel a bit unsatisfied or unhappy. But then the next day, the things might be exactly the same and you feel happier. So it's quite a puzzling thing, this mind. What really makes us happy? What makes us feel peaceful? What makes us feel loving kindness? And that's why we need to investigate. We need to understand how this body and this mind is working. How this thing that we all inhabit, that each one of us has a unique body and mind. How does it actually work? And when we are practicing Vipassana, we're trying to find this out. So the Buddha's teaching are very simple, is very simple. Nowadays, there's a lot of extra stuff there, like all religions, they always pile on a bunch of other stuff. But at the essence of the Buddha's teaching is how to be happy. And the Buddha basically gave 3 different ways for how to be happy. There's kind of the first 2 ways, which are the more simple ways, which he talked about very publicly, and which he also preached very publicly, which the monkhood is kind of like a frame for practicing these more intensively. But at its essence is basically do no harm. So don't harm yourself and others. That's why we have things like the precepts: don't kill, don't steal, don't lie, don't practice harmful speech. This applies to not only towards others, but also towards yourself. We all know that when we do harmful things to others, when we act in selfish ways, when we act out of scarcity, when we steal, when we hurt someone, it makes us feel bad. There's some human commonness amongst us that is kind of like it's almost like a universal law that it makes us feel bad to make other people feel bad. And you're all already quite very wholesome and conscious people, otherwise you wouldn't be taking this course. But you probably, already have discovered this for yourself. The second thing being to practice loving kindness. So loving kindness isn't just a meditation method, but loving kindness can also be loving kindness in action, helping others, doing something nice for someone, giving someone a gift, saying something nice, helping someone who's in need, etc. These acts of loving kindness also reflect inner states of loving kindness. A state of loving kindness in the mind automatically feels like a positive and pleasurable state. So for example, if you close down your eyes right now and you just say to yourself, may I be happy, and may all beings be happy. I will always act in loving kindness and goodwill towards others. And just remember maybe something nice that you did for someone recently. Can be someone you know or someone that you don't know so well, but just remember a little act of kindness. If you can't think of one, just imagine an act of kindness. Imagine giving something nice, a compliment or a gift to someone that you know or don't know. And you might notice that this instantly creates a more pleasant state of mind, a more happy state of mind. Okay, you can open up your eyes again. So yeah, this is the basics, the basics, the kind of mundane Buddhism that the Buddha preached. and that we all know, and that's also taught in all other religions. And then there's a third way. This is the path, which is, let's say, not as commonly preached and is not maybe for everyone. It takes a certain kind of person to want to meditate, to be attracted to this kind of course. But the third, and in the Buddha's words, the most important way to create happiness and freedom within yourself is to practice meditation. Because these things, they need practicing, and through meditation we can go a little bit deeper and to deeper levels of the mind than we usually go to in our everyday life and with acts of kindness, etc., etc. So let's talk a little bit about meditation. There are two types of, so from the Buddhist perspective, there's two types of meditation. And you'll find that all types of meditation can kind of fit within these categories. So the first type of meditation is samatha meditation. It's also called samadhi meditation or concentration meditation. And the goal of samatha meditation is basically to create a peaceful mind, to create a unified mind through concentration. So this is kind of the most common technique, and when people say they meditate, they usually refer to samatha meditation, because in samatha meditation we take an object, we take maybe the breath, we take visualizing something, we focus on certain sound, we basically do something with our attention that repeatedly brings our attention towards something, and we do this and repeat this process over and over again. This can also be done outside of kind of formal sitting meditation. And I believe also samatha, or the unification of mind, is a lot, it's a big reason why people love to do things which make them feel good. For example, sports. So in sports, I've experienced that because of some focus, some maybe a repetitive activity like swimming or running, our mind automatically gets drawn towards this one topic, this one subject of the sensations of running or something like this, or maybe playing music, the melody, etc. And a more concentrated state of mind automatically gives rise to more flow state, gives rise to more peaceful and unified states of consciousness. So this is the first type of meditation, samatha meditation. The second type of meditation is Vipassana meditation. So this is basically, it also uses samatha, it also uses concentration, but it's a little bit different. So in Vipassana meditation, the objective isn't to just create a peaceful state of mind, but the objective is to remove misunderstanding. So to kind of investigate our reality, how our mind and our body is working, to remove the misunderstandings that we have about the way things work. So to give a simple example, it would be something like every time I walk towards the kitchen, I bump my big toe onto the corner of the door, something simple like this. So every time I walk, I bump my foot on the corner of the door. Vipassana would be to investigate that process of walking to the kitchen and notice why it hurts when I walk to the kitchen. And when I start paying more attention to how the mind and body is working, I recognize that, oh, I always bump my foot on the door. And then I stop doing that, basically through understanding. And it's the same thing with our whole body and mind. So Vipassana means to see clearly, or to create wisdom. Yes. So this difference between these two techniques, or these different types of meditations, is quite important to understand, because it helps us to understand why certain states of mind tend to happen in our meditation, and how we can meditate to make ourselves happier more in the long term. Oops. Okay. So maybe everyone can just briefly write a type of meditation that they've practiced, which isn't what we did in the 10-day course. If you ever practiced some type of meditation, which was not what we did in the 10-day course, maybe just write a phrase for what you did in that meditation. For example, you visualized XYZ, or you focused on this, or can also be the name of the meditation. Maybe just write one thing. Loving kindness meditation. Excellent. Okay. Yeah, loving kindness is actually a form of concentration meditation, of samatha meditation. So in loving kindness meditation, we focus repeatedly on the feeling of metta, of loving kindness in the body, some phrases of metta, some visualization of metta, and it brings a more concentrated mind through the object of love, of loving kindness. So it's a type of samatha meditation. Candle meditation, we focus on a candle that's in front of us, and then we close the eyes and visualize this candle, also a samatha meditation, a type of concentration. I don't know what it's ascension meditation, guided visualizations. Yes, these are all samatha. I'm not familiar with chakra and blocking meditations, but yes. So I want to make a little bit more clear this samatha meditation. So samatha is a little bit what we practiced in the first 3-4 days of the 10-day course, where we kept repeatedly focusing on the breath. But there are kind of some types of samatha meditation which are more a preparation for Vipassana, and other types of samatha meditation which are not as conducive towards Vipassana. So because when we focus on the breath, we're not trying to create anything extra, we're not trying to visualize anything extra, it helps us prepare for a Vipassana way of looking. Because in Vipassana, we don't try to change or add anything to our experience, we just observe experience as it happens naturally. So there is some samatha which is more conducive towards Vipassana. But the essence of samatha is basically just focusing on one subject. The more you focus on just one subject, the more concentration you build, the more the mind gets unified towards that one subject. A unified mind feels pleasant, there's less distracted thoughts, and there's maybe less thinking going on in general, and there's more focus, and you reach states of temporary peace and calm. But here's the key point. They are temporary. So as soon as your concentration goes again, because concentration is a state of mind, and your peaceful state of mind also tends to go. So you might notice that, okay, when I practice some meditation, I feel more calm. And then I go out and I get really distracted by different things, and suddenly I feel stressed again, and I don't like it. It doesn't feel nice. And this is because the state of calm that was produced is because of the unification of the mind, the concentration. But then when the concentration in a different situation dissipates, because we have to deal with a lot of things, because they're stressors, so we don't like them. So the mind tends to get more scattered, a lot of different conflicting things, and then we feel like we're fighting ourselves a little bit. So the temporary state of mind vanishes. And that's really the shortfall of samatha meditation. It doesn't give us long-term lasting happiness. It comes and goes with state of concentration. But it's a good thing. Samatha meditation is a good thing. It's a good preparation also. So then there's Vipassana meditation. In Vipassana meditation, we are using both concentration. We need to use some concentration for Vipassana, but we're also using mindfulness. So what exactly is mindfulness? It's a term that gets thrown around quite a lot these days. Be mindful, etc. But it's because of that, it has quite a vague kind of definition, and often mindfulness also gets equated with samatha. If I focus on my breath, that's mindfulness. But mindfulness, I would like to kind of assimilate it a bit more with a kind of background awareness that's always aware of what's happening and how and what's happening in your whole experience. So we definitely need mindfulness to build some concentration, because you remember when you focus on the breath and you kind of realize, you kind of wake up out of something and you recognize that, the mind is distracted. So this moment, the mind is distracted, or the mind is thinking about this, is a moment of mindfulness. This moment is a moment of clear awareness of what's happening in your conscious experience. And the more you train this, kind of, you could also call it like a meta-awareness, metacognitive awareness. The more you train this kind of background awareness of what's happening, the more continuous it will be, and it becomes actually more something that's always watching, regardless if you're very distracted, or if you're very concentrated, or if you're very peaceful, or if you're very angry and pissed off. Mindfulness can see it. And the key to developing mindfulness, which is what we're going to do in this course, is to, rather than just focusing on one subject and any subject, we focus on body and mind at the present moment. So what does that mean? Body and mind. So body and mind is happening in every moment. In every single moment, all of your experience is always body and mind. So you can feel now your body, the feeling of sitting, the sensations. Body is also hearing. You can hear what's going on in your surroundings. You can see. Maybe you can taste something also. And maybe you can smell something. This is body. Body is basically the external reality coming into contact with your 5 senses and the direct experience of this. And then there's mind, which is basically all the rest. Your thoughts, your intentions, your imagination, your memories, your plans about the future, your worries. So mind is all the rest, and mind is a lot more complicated than body. But the key is essentially that in Vipassana, we are not trying to change body and mind, but we are just observing body and mind as it happens naturally. We don't need to do anything. We just need to create the right awareness to observe the way that our mind and body is working. So it's at an advanced level, you don't even have to direct your attention at anything. You just notice where attention moves naturally. For example, maybe now you feel sitting, and then a thought comes. And then maybe you feel confused, or you feel happy, or you feel something comes. In every moment, something is coming. Mind and body is continuously working. And this is the nature. This is natural. Mind and body is working. And all we're trying to do in Vipassana is to observe the process of mind and body working and understand, not intellectually understand, but understand by just observing the way it's working. And the objective of Vipassana is to remove misunderstanding. So we all hold a lot of misunderstanding about what really makes us happy and what makes us suffer, which is why usually we always repeat the same mistakes that makes us suffer. For example, I don't want to pick on anyone, but someone was saying that the opinions they hold, and probably there's some tight holding around some opinions, they notice that this brings them suffering sometimes. So maybe you are you tend to argue with people about your opinions, and then after the argument you recognize that you push someone away or something like this, with this tight holding on to this opinion. And what we're doing in Vipassana, we just understand the way that the mind and body is working, and understand that this holding on to opinions brings us more suffering than it brings us happiness. So maybe we start to change something. And it's the same with the rest of our life. So we try to remove misunderstanding about what makes us happy and what makes us unhappy by observing the way it works, by understanding this machine, this software and this hardware, software of the mind and the hardware of the body. And this creates more long-term wisdom. It creates more understanding of what really makes us happy. And it also creates freedom, because if you have the right mindfulness, the right type of way of looking, it doesn't actually matter what you're experiencing. There will be space and freedom around even anger or discomfort or tiredness or sadness. There will be space around it. And yes, so samatha, vipassana, samatha, peacefulness, vipassana for wisdom. With practice, this will become more clear, but I just wanted to, this is one of the key concepts of this course, the difference between samatha and vipassana. But we will keep coming back to this. So no worries if it doesn't make so much sense at the moment. Okay. So let's close our eyes for a second. And try to see if you can just be aware of what's happening in body and in mind. Or what appears naturally without necessarily doing anything. Maybe doing starts to happening by itself, which is okay. Just notice what happens. Does attention go more towards body, towards senses, or does it go more into thinking? Just notice. We will take 1 minute to do this in silence. Sensation is body. Okay. And you can open your eyes again. Sarah, what appeared for you in the last minute? Anything is okay.
Mostly bodily experiences, some discomfort.
Was there anything, did you notice anything in the mind? Any thoughts?
Not so much as usually, but some planning came up.
Great. Excellent. That's it. Just the body and mind. How about Wendy? What appeared for you?
I was concentrating on the body and trying to stop the mind from coming in. So,
Okay.
yes,
Great.
yeah.
Great.
So, yeah.
Good. Yeah, no, nothing wrong. Everything is just the nature of body and mind. So there was some trying to concentrate. There was some sensations in the body, probably. Maybe there was some thoughts like, oh, I should concentrate on the body. Just the nature. Great. Maybe one more person. Russell, what appeared for you?
So for me, yeah, as soon as I sat, a lot of sensation, awareness of sensation in the body, some discomfort in parts, and then some kind of thoughts about the sensation, and thoughts about letting go, and is this better, is this right, is this, and then kind of trying to let go of those thoughts, and then so a little dialogue, and then trying to shut down the dialogue about the sensation and enjoying it.
Excellent. Great. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. So whatever appeared for that minute for you there's no wrong answers. Whatever appeared is just the nature of your own unique mind and body. And it depends on the cause and conditions of your mind and body. So it depends on what you've done today, on your state of mind now, on the meditation techniques that you've practiced in the past, your beliefs about what you think is right and what you think is wrong, and the physical reality at the moment, whether you're sitting, whether you're standing. So all these causes and conditions created an experience for that 1 minute that you begun and try to observe. Great. Excellent. So you might notice that it's kind of difficult without a technique to do this, to just be aware of body and mind. We get into thoughts, we get into stories, blah, blah, blah. We get into analyzing whether this is right or wrong, etc. And that's why we have techniques. So in the 10-day course, you learn the technique of body scanning. This is one Vipassana technique because it practices a lot with the mindfulness on the body. And the mindfulness of the body is extremely important. It is the main, it is the most important form of mindfulness. If we have very good mindfulness of the body, actually, we don't need even mindfulness of the mind so much because the mind appears on the body anyway. And the sensations, the emotions in the mind will always have a physical counterpart. And if we get really good at observing just the body, that's all we need. In the 10-day course, we also use a lot of concentration because we continually refocused our attention towards our body. We brought it back to our body when we noticed it straying away. We brought it back, we brought it back, we brought it back. So we're practicing both samatha and vipassana. Vipassana because we're learning the truth of our body and how the mind is working, how it's distracting, etc. What we tend to think about, blah, blah, blah. And we're building concentration by refocusing on something, on one subject, which was just the sensations of the body. And in my personal journey, I found that for me, this had a limitation. So I found that I couldn't work as well with more subtle states of mind, with things that I couldn't necessarily observe in the body, but which were happening in the mind, like some more subtle moods, some annoyance, which was lasting for a longer time, etc. And so I find it very helpful also to be able to observe the mind. The mind is a bit more subtle, a bit more wispy, a bit less tangible. So it's more difficult to observe the mind. But in this course, we're going to try to create the observation, the type of mindfulness that can observe anything, whether it is a phenomenon of the mind or of the body. And we do this with the aid of the technique. So the technique is called noting. and we use labels as help. So the important thing is not to get too stuck in the technique, to understand what is the technique for. The technique is for focusing and being aware of body and mind at the present moment, however it's manifesting. But the labeling helps us. So what do I mean by labeling? By labeling, I mean just to give a little mental label, or let's say like a word, which is just kind of represents what is happening in body and mind at the moment. So here's just some simple example labels. So for example, if I'm sitting and then suddenly the intention notices the feeling of my feet on the floor, I can just say touching. Or I feel the sensation of the hip on the chair, touching. Then I notice a sound, hearing. Or I notice that I see, seeing, smelling, tasting. Can also be like sitting. So feeling of sitting. If you feel the body as a whole sitting, you can say sitting. Or I stand up, I feel standing. And for the mind, for now, you can just use thinking. So whenever you notice that there's thinking, just kind of label in your head thinking. And the important thing is not to get too stuck on the labels. So the labels, it's not like a mantra where we're just kind of repeating it, touching, feeling, thinking, feeling, touching. No, we want to use the labels to observe what is naturally occurring in our experience. So we kind of, it's a little bit after the fact that it's happened. So sitting, I feel thinking, hearing. And importantly, we don't have to catch everything. We just catch one thing every few seconds. So we don't have to catch everything in our experience. That happens with more practice and when we stop using the labels, but just one thing at a time and whatever is most obvious. So sometimes it feels like a lot of different things are going on at once. Just pick one thing and label it. It feels like hearing and feeling and thinking is going on at the same time. But the hearing is the most outstanding. The hearing is the most obvious. I just say hearing. And it doesn't matter anyway. A moment later, it doesn't matter. Just whatever is happening right now. You don't have to kind of retrospectively label what happened that you missed 10 seconds ago, but whatever is happening right now. This is the technique of labeling. And this helps us create the right type of consciousness, the right mindfulness for Vipassana. Yes. So this is also in the meditation instructions. So don't worry if I'm just introducing the technique. I also introduced this in the guided meditation which you received yesterday, 1 hour. So don't worry if now it doesn't make so much sense. I will guide you through it step by step in the meditations. Okay. So let's try this. So yeah, one more point maybe. The labels are not so important. It's not so important to use the right labels, but just use labels which help you observe what's happening in the body and mind. Whatever they may be. You can create your own, you can say it in your own language. Doesn't have to be English. But importantly, they label what's happening in your experience. Yes, let's try it. So let's close down the eyes. And let's start with sitting. Or if you're standing, you can just say standing. And feeling the sensation of sitting or of standing. And every few seconds, just label what is happening in body and in mind. And if you feel lost, just come back to the body, sitting. Okay, and open up your eyes. And let's take a moment not to look at the screen and just look around you inside the room that you're in. Looking at different objects near and far, maybe looking out the window. And just recognize that you are seeing. Okay, great. So, Wan Ching, what appeared for you, or what labels? What did you label in the minute?
A lot of hearing and touching or bodily for like swallowing. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like in the guided meditation, you say we should start with focusing on the breath. So I wasn't sure whether I should say breathing, because in the voids of the absence of other, awareness, it's the breathing that's dominant.
Yes. So to answer your question, in the beginning, we use the breathing and to come back, just to create again the awareness. Because if we sometimes we go into thought, and then if we just say thinking, we just get stuck in a loop. So it's just helpful to come back to something. But probably in this case, what you would have labeled is thinking, because you were thinking about the how to do the thing. But yeah, you can always come back to the rising and falling. But if you are thinking about, oh, am I supposed to do something, or am I supposed to think about this or focus here? That's thinking. So then they both thinking. Yeah, this is also a key concept. When in doubt, when you feel lost, you notice thinking is happening, but you feel lost, confused for a while. Just come back to the body. The body is always the kind of safe space, the anchor that we can come back to when we feel our mindfulness is getting hazy or lost or confused or whatever. We just come back to the body, and again, feeling sitting, or feel rising and falling of the belly, or feel sensation of standing if we're doing walking meditation. The body is a little bit the anchor, but then again, if we feel, okay, I feel I'm aware again, then you can again just open open up and notice whatever happens naturally. Thank you. Okay. Eliza, what appeared for you?
It was a lot of feeling, thinking, and hearing I found was predominant.
Mm-hmm. Great. So you just tracking what appeared for you.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any what kind of feeling?
Mostly like, I guess, physical, like throbbing, like feet aching after a long day of work. So it was a lot of like just aches, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Great. Yeah. So there's no right or wrong. Whatever appears is right. We just observe it. Yeah. So the key concept here is just intending to be mindful of body and mind at the present moment, whatever appears in the present moment. And that's what we're practicing for these 8 weeks. Something very simple, but very deep. Okay. So, yeah. The last thing, I was going to just give a brief overview of how the course is set up, the WhatsApp group, etc., the meditation instructions, the daily life practice. But for now, does anyone have any questions about the technique? Maybe you have already done the meditation or maybe not yet, but is there anything which right now you feel confused about? No.
Can you, like with the walking meditation, what are we supposed to be aware of, or what are we supposed to focus on or not?
So with the walking meditation, the anchor is a little bit the sensation. The anchor is always sensations. So, for example, the feeling of standing, and the sensation in the feet, the sensation of your foot landing, and also the movement. So that's why we have this label. Right goes in the first week. It's right goes touch, left goes touch, but we build on that and break it down more. But so every time you label right goes touch, you're just feeling the movement of right goes touch, and it's not something that you have to focus very intensely. I need to feel all the sensation in my foot, but a very natural, open, just like you're going for a walk or something, or just like you know that you are sitting now. There's a feeling of, I know I'm sitting, and it's as simple and as kind of mundane as that. So I feel I'm standing. Okay, now I feel right goes touch. I don't have to focus and get fine-grained into subtle sensations or something, but I know that my right, for example, if you raise your arm now like this, and just feel raising your arm, and then put your arm down again, and now use the label raising as you raise it. Raising. And then label lowering. Okay, and now use the wrong label. So label lowering as you raise it. Lowering. And then use raising as you lower. Raising. So this is quite a subtle thing, but there's something which feels a little bit off when you say the wrong thing. So do you just want to feel the thing and say the action? So raising is raising, very clear, very obvious. I'm lowering my hand. So just that knowing of the action or of the thing that's happening right now. This is a little bit confusing in the beginning with this technique. That's why I don't teach it in a 10-day course, because it's a bit more subtle and can be confusing, but it will make more sense as you get experience, as you start to practice it. And then with walking, so when you feel that okay, you're standing, then your right goes touch. And when you notice something else has caught your attention, something else is, oh no, I'm thinking about something. And maybe you were walking 3 steps without recognizing it, but then you notice, thinking is present. Just label thinking. And then maybe hearing, and then again, standing. And then continue. Yes. Does that make sense, Launching?
Yeah, so if I like focus too much on how my balance is shifting between the feet or where the weight is going in the feet, is that thinking or is that sensing?
You can say something like balancing. If the body is what's predominant, just say something with the body, like balancing. If you feel that you're worrying or thinking, you can just say thinking or worrying. Whatever is most obvious to you. Yes. But it's just practice also. You over time your labels become more like I have my labels for stuff and etc. So don't worry too much now. It doesn't have to be perfect. It will just, with time, just building mindfulness. It's something that has to be exercised, like a muscle that has to be trained. Okay. Is there anyone else?
Hi, this is Maurizio. Apologies, I was late today. I got the time difference wrong.
Yes.
So I realized too late. Just a question. When you realize you're thinking and you're walking, do you suggest when you're labeled thinking, do you suggest to stop, not to kind of miss the rhythm before right goes touch and left goes touch?
Yes,
you stop until you're ready to restart?
Exactly, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just one thing at a time. If you notice thinking is more predominant, then you stop walking, thinking. Okay, now I can start walking again. Yeah, whatever is most obvious, and try to just do one thing at a time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maurizio. Okay. What else is there?
I have a question just about sitting.
Mm-hmm.
If you're experiencing discomfort in sitting, better to put yourself in a place where you don't feel discomfort or pass through it?
It depends on the intensity of the discomfort. If there's some discomfort, it's good to notice and observe it and label it. So discomfort, disliking maybe, and then maybe you start thinking about the discomfort, thinking, and then maybe you notice something else for a second, and then again you notice discomfort, and just track attention as it moves. If it gets to the point where you feel, okay, this is like really intense and I'm just discomfort, pain. It's not going anywhere else. Then it's okay to move and just to kind of like be aware as you move. So kind of you can say wanting to move, moving leg, adjusting leg, adjusting hand, sitting. So just label. So it doesn't actually matter what we do. It's just we're just trying to learn about everything and how the mind and body is working. So use discomfort also as an opportunity to learn about the process of discomfort and how the mind works when there's discomfort, how the mind wants something else, how the mind plans to move, etc. So the more, as we start to build more mindfulness, you start to see more and more what actually happens in between the cracks of what we usually don't catch. So initially it was maybe, and I know this is kind of beyond the scope of your question, but it's a good opportunity to talk about it. Initially it's like, I feel pain, I don't like it, I want to move. Maybe Actually, no, even more basic than that. I feel pain, I need to move. You move. Then you notice, I feel pain. Then I feel a thought about the pain, and then I move. And then you notice, oh, I feel a pain of moving. Then I feel the thought of moving. Then I feel a worry about the thought. Then I feel the intention to move, and then I do the movement. And more you see more what's there. You see more as your mindfulness strengthens, it's like your vision gets upgraded, and you see more and more and more. And it's the same with walking, and it's the same with everything else. Actually, the more we create this mindfulness, the more we start to see how the mind and body works moment to moment. But we will build on that throughout the course. This is maybe more jumping ahead with the thing.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Okay. Does anyone have anything else? Questions are excellent. Questions are a great way to engage more deeply with the technique, the material. It's good to question, and there's only honest question. There's no bad questions. As long as your questions are coming from honest place of where you're at, this is the questions that will help you go deeper in your practice.
I have another question.
Yes.
No. If I don't have 1 hour and say I have less time, should I still split it walking and sitting, or can I do them in 2 separate sessions? What would you recommend?
I would recommend doing walking and sitting both in however much time. So say you split it into 30 minutes, do 15-15 and 15-15 again. The walking is very important. So don't think that walking is somehow, this is not your question, but also just to say this, don't think that walking is somehow inferior towards sitting meditation. Walking is just as important as sitting meditation. Walking helps us bridge the practice towards a more ordinary state of mind. When we're walking with the eyes open, it's more how we are usually in our daily life. And so it will help you create also mindfulness without concentration. So when we're sitting, our concentration is deeper. We usually are able to focus more intensely on whatever, and there's less thoughts, etc. happening, especially if we have a good practice, sitting practice before this. But walking meditation helps us to create mindfulness and awareness without this state of concentration. Yeah. Okay. So I think best we just all do it for a week, and then we come back, and then I'm sure there will be maybe something is not clear now, but with some practice, there will be more clarity and maybe more questions which emerge, which is good. So yeah, just to briefly talk about the setup of the course. So we have this group lecture every Sunday. And for those of you who watch the recording, we have a Q&A at 6 p.m. LA time on Saturday for any questions that you have, and just to also have some kind of group engagement. And yeah, the meditation instructions, they're a little bit different than during the 10-day course. So it's not as kind of, I'm not holding your hand as much as during the 10-day course. I was holding your hand a lot there, but in this, it's more kind of pure instructionary, and we get more into details, finer details as the course progresses, and some tips along the way. And also we increase the number of walking steps, etc. But yeah, the instructions are basically designed so that you listen to them maybe 1, 2, or 3 times, but you also have a few sessions per week where you're just meditating with a meditation timer on your own. So I recommend the Insight Timer or other meditation timers which have some interval option. But this is basically so that you also learn how to meditate more independently. A lot of people in the 10-day course, they they kind of stop after the 10-day course because everything is quite handheld and you don't learn how to do it without guidance. But if you do without guidance, it becomes more easy, a bigger part of your life. So that's why it's that way. Also, it's 8 weeks worth of daily meditations, which I didn't feel to record. Yeah, the third pillar is the support group. So we have our WhatsApp group. So try to not post too much random stuff in there. But if you have any questions which you feel that are also a concern to the bigger group, you can post those in there. You can ask logistical stuff. And yeah, so WhatsApp group, also post reminders there. And then we also have this body check-in system, which is something that we will try out for this course. But basically I will pair you guys up in similar time zones. And yeah, the idea of the body check-in is just to have a quick chat, like once a week, maybe 20-30 minutes, doesn't have to be very long, but just to have some sort of accountability towards someone, and also discuss any questions you might have, any confusions, which you can then also bring towards me or bring towards this call. And it's also nice just to know another meditator is going through this with you. So I will pair you guys up. I'll make individual WhatsApp groups for each person, I think, each couple. I'll do that beginning of this week. And yeah, I believe that is all. Yes. The last thing is also there's an invitation every week to bring mindfulness into your daily life. So some invitation which helps you to create a bit more mindfulness throughout your day. So the invitation for this week is just to feel touching throughout your day. So whenever you don't have to do this religiously or intensively. Actually, if you stay more relaxed and enjoy doing it, you will have more success than if you're super intense about it. But just notice when you do notice the sensation of touching something. So the sensation of touching the floor, and the sensation of picking up an object, the sensation of the fork when you are going to feed yourself, the sensation of the shower. You can use the label or you cannot use the label. If you feel the label helps you, by all means go for it. You can just say touching. But this just helps you create a little bit more mindfulness throughout the daily life. And we will keep adding to this every week. So hopefully we bring more mindful awareness, which supports a lot the practice when you are going to sit. Okay. Yes, so thank you very much for joining today, for taking an hour on your Sunday. And yeah, I really wish you all the best for the following week. And of course, you can always ask me any questions, etc. Yeah, so let's end with a moment of just feeling the body. You can close your eyes or can you leave them open? Noticing sitting or standing, noticing hearing, seeing behind closed eyes. Araham Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavantam Abhivademi Sawakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supatipano Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Sangam Namami. Thank you very much. And that little chant is a Thai or a Pali chant which they do in Thailand in the monasteries very often. It's basically paying respect to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. So the Buddha, the qualities of the Buddha, the qualities of mindfulness, etc., wisdom, and the Dhamma, which is basically the teachings of the Buddha, the things that we practice here. And the Sangha is the spiritual community. So you guys, me, my teachers, your teachers, everyone who's basically, it's nice to have this awareness that what we are practicing now, these techniques, they have been passed on. They've changed over time, but they've kind of been passed on through all these different lives. And they reach us today and we can practice them. So yeah, we just kind of give thanks, or just give a little bit of respect to where they come from. So yeah, thank you very much for joining, and see you all next week.
Thank you, Raymond.
you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.